Hi everyone, I'm Juliet Starr, and today I'm here interviewing a friend of mine. He's a DJ, producer. He's from the Dallas Fort Worth area. I met him several months ago, earlier this year, at a Sundown Social Festival, and he was opening that festival. And I enjoyed his music, and we got to talking and became friends. So here we are, and I want to introduce you to Ascension. Welcome.
Thanks for having me on here. It's great.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do from your perspective.
So I am a tech house melodic techno DJ producer artist. I also have a separate persona for bass music called Exile. I've been doing Ascension for about 2 years now. I've kind of been producing and things like that for about 10 years. And I just kind of with the bass side of things, everything just kind of started to sound normal and everything was like just sounding the same. And so I was like, maybe it's time for a switch. So I was like, you know what? I started with house and things like that when I first got into EDM. And so I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. So then I started messing around, listening to artists like Argy, Camel Fat, and things like that. And I really started kind of diving into it, and then ergo Ascension was made. So it was kind of one of those, started out as like an experiment, and then it just kind of took off from there, and I've enjoyed it the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's great and it's obviously something I love too. I love the music and it's very fulfilling. But what what is this like your dream or what's your deepest dream? And how long have you had it and why does it drive you? Is that like because you're to be a DJ, producer? Like what is your deepest dream or maybe something completely unrelated to music?
So I've wanted to always do something with music, just kind of like didn't know what. Um, I had when I was way younger, me and a couple friends of mine, we were like in talks of like starting a country band. And that honestly just kind of never even like got started. It was all
Fitting
talk.
for Texas, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So then as kind of like time went on, I just kind of like got to a spot where I was like not sure what I wanted to do. And I was just kind of like coasting. And then when I went to my first show ever, I went to see Borges at Lizard Lounge and had a great time. Like such a wonderful night. First time ever. A few weeks later, I went back and I saw Getter, and it was on July 19th, 2016. And it was right after he dropped his Rip and Dip EP. And when he dropped that first drop, it just kind of like ignited that musical spark again. And that moment, I was like, I pointed to a person I was with at the time, and I was like, that I want to do that right there. And so ever since then, I just kind of like got my first board, and like when this kind of started taking off and going along, there's a lot of sacrifices that go with this, and it's very difficult. But the drive and the passion that I have to like just kind of do this is it's not about fame or fortune because it comes with the territory. Like it's part of it. So, I don't ever really worry about that. And when it comes to like the famous side, I don't want to be just famous. I want to be famous for doing what I love. And that's kind of like my big thing. Um I forget who said it, but it's I just I just want to be paid to entertain people. And that's like that's the enjoyment that I get because for that 1 hour and a half, hour 45, or 30 minutes or whatever it may be, that time frame for me is I have the sole attention of the crowd that's there. And my responsibility as an artist is to give these people a good time. I mean, these people they paid and took time out of their day to come and watch me play, or even if it's a headliner or something like that and I'm just the opener, like they came to watch me play, or not me play but whoever play. So it's my responsibility to kind of give that to them. So that's kind of like the big thing with it. The It's just that the passion for it is just being able to bring that joy to others. And then the drive behind it is honestly, like, my kids are the ones that that drive me to do it, because I want to be able to give them things like, hey, like we're all going to pack up next week and go to Disney World and stay there for a week, and like not have to sweat it or anything like that. So it's a combination of my own passion, my own drive, and also the combination of my kids and things like that. So
Yeah, yeah, and I got to see you the first time play, and I was drawn to you. So you obviously are doing something right, as you caught my attention. And so let me ask you, do you have what are the two most powerful turning points in your life, and how did they shape your journey?
probably the first major turning point was when I got my first divorce, because that was like right before that. That's what kind of started, like, when the music and everything kind of started. So like my attention, like it literally went to all that.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably say the second one was about 5.5, 6 years ago. I'd woken up one day. I'd been on meth for about 2 years, and I just kind of woke up one day and I was like, I saw myself in the mirror and I was like, you know what? It's like I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Well, I knew what I wanted to do, because during that time frame was when I was really kind of like messing around with mixing and producing and things like that. So it kind of kept my hands busy during that time frame. And but I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of here. And I ended up getting blessed, and like my second wife came along and she got me out of that situation, kind of flipped things around, and she helped me kind of get on track to kind of start getting myself in the right direction that I needed to go. So it was those kind of two moments that were like, self-realization. It's like, hey man, like, did you're meant for more than this. So like, why don't we go find out what it is? And so here I am, 6 years later, almost 6 years later. November 14th will be 6 years of being clean. So like, here I am almost 6 years later, and the drive is still going. The dream is still moving in the direction that it needs to go. So it's
That's
been
great.
a wild ride, but it's definitely one that was well worth it. So
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations on that.
thank you, thank you.
Really happy for you. Um, so what in your life then do you feel most grateful for?
Probably Selena, my second wife, for sure. Because like
Helping
she's
you get through this
Yeah,
hard
because it
time.
was it was more than just her letting me move in. Like it was when I was there, she would come, she would take care of me, bring me food, basically like nurse me back to health, basically. And then like I ended up moving in with her and all this stuff, and then she helped me take care of, excuse me, helped me take care of a lot of debt, things like that, helped me get a job. So if I had to pick anything, it would definitely be her.
Nice. So I know you're very talented as a DJ and a producer. Do you have any secret talents, skills, or passions that most people don't know about you?
Um, I'm very good at basketball. And
Oh,
like
okay.
I tell a lot of people that and they kind of scoff at me, but I'm like, you know, you can always find tell me what chord and I'll pull up and I'll play. Like no problem. Like not a problem. That and then I also do like construction, remodeling, things like that. I don't really it's my work and my DJ like life is I just kind of keep everything separate because, you kind of start to let things bleed over into the other and it kind of just turns into a mess. So, but not a lot of people in the DJ world know that I do, doing stuff, working with my hands, things like that. So, but other than that, not really much of anything else. I'm pretty basic.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, I played basketball as a child, but not much these days.
Right. Yeah. No, I'd probably go about three times down the court and then I'd be like, all right, guys, I got to go home and take a nap. So, for me.
So when you're producing music, what would you say inspires you to make like a specific track? Is it like emotional? Is it technical, situational?
Honestly, I would probably say it's more emotional slash situational because I've always felt that when you hear music, it's the one thing that kind of like will connect everybody together without any chaos. It kind of brings like like everybody says, oh man, this has got the vibes, bro. Like all that stuff. So, but the key thing about it is music. It makes you feel. So, whatever track I write, whether it's my bass project or my Ascension project, we'll talk more on the Ascension side. My whole thing with it is it's kind of like a ethereal, out of this world kind of like type of feeling. Um, Almost futuristic, but still majestic. So it's kind of like those vibes. So music makes you feel. So I feel like if I play one song out, there's five people in the crowd that are gonna have five different feelings to that specific track. So I feel like if that's what music makes people do, then it would only be right to produce what I'm feeling. So, excuse me, when I cycle through my sounds and things like that and go through all those, and I just whatever kind of like really hits me off the spot. It could be a hat loop, it could be a sub bass, it could be an arp melody, anything, or even a vocal. And then I just kind of whatever that first initial sound is, the rest of the entire track is literally built around that sound. So it could be something as simple as like a small like one shot pluck that has like a bell sound to it or something like that. And I'm like, oh man, that really like I can do something with that. And so I literally go off that one sound and then just go and just create this crazy thing. And it's so cool because it's it's not I'm not doing anything crazy. I have no music theory background whatsoever. I am self-taught. I've had help along the way, tips, tricks. People have kind of shown me some things and stuff like that. But for the majority of it, it's kind of self-taught. So writing what I feel and things like that, and taking something from nothing to this great track is simply because I love watching music while I'm hearing it. Because when you see what music is doing while you're hearing it, you will never hear music the same way again. Like it's insane. You like it's so crazy. So I kind of just go based off the feeling that I'm having. So that's why I would say situational slash emotional.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I always love all the lights and the visuals like at the venue, right? And that's
Oh
a great
yeah.
way to visually like experience the music.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And the lasers and
Yeah, and then when everything just kind of like blends together, like when the DJ just kind of gets like locked in and zoned in, and then all of a sudden the light people and the production people they're all clicking together and they're all on the same page, and then when the whole thing just kind of like comes together and you can stand back and just kind of watch it all, it's
wow.
like it's like that's crazy. So, it's a cool little community. So like,
Yeah.
it's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I love it too. I mean, this is why we do it, right?
Exactly.
So, since you do produce kind of emotionally in a way, is there any specific memory or emotional moment tied to one of your songs that you haven't talked about publicly?
That's an excellent question. So I do have one. I do have one. It's on my bass side, but it's unreleased. It's called Health Risk. I'm working on getting it kind of cleaned up and things like that.
Yeah.
On my Ascension side, honestly, a lot of my stuff it has when the in the beginning and stuff like that, it was more of when I would hit my like depression waves and it would kick in. So instead of like laying in bed and like thinking about it, I would just kind of go and open the doll and just kind of like put in there. And then over time as it kind of started to, level off, everything gets under control and things like that. You grow as a person. Um, it just kind of became something that it's I'd probably say within the last 6 months, it's kind of like rediscovering the passion again, to where it's no longer like, oh man, I have to like do this to like stay ahead of the game. I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. It's rediscovering like the passion of like, nah, it's because I'm thinking about the wrong reasons. Like, why am I doing it? The reason why I'm doing it is because like I love doing it. So that's why I do it. So rediscovering
Sometimes
that again is kind of where it's at right now. So
I think sometimes we forget like why we're doing it, especially when there's like drama or issues or business stuff
mhm.
that gets involved and you're just
Yep.
like, ugh.
It gets so nerve-wracking. It's like, and that's the part that kind of wears you out the most. And like honestly, that's kind of one of the things that a lot of people don't really see or understand. But from an artist side of it all, the things that you go through, like, I mean, I've had at least 6 tracks rejected by labels. I've been forgotten off lineups before in my early days. There's people come and go. It's you don't get paid or whatever. I mean, but it's part of it. And the key thing is the consistency. Is like if you stay consistent in the game, it's going to be hard. But like one of the things I always tell people is, the I don't believe in the saying life's going to make you or break you. I believe more that life molds you and shapes you into the person that like you're truly meant to be. So if you think of the statue of David when it was being done, how many times did the guy like miss the nail or miss the chisel and hit his thumb? How many times did like something didn't happen with the marble and it had to get a new slab and like all this stuff? You growing as a person, it's it hurts, it's hard, it's messy, it's ugly. You got to restart a few times, but if you stay consistent in the game and if it truly is your passion, then you come out on the other side. I mean, me, I've got I've got 10 years in this. And I'm kind of now gaining decent traction with both projects. So it's hard, and it's a side that a lot of people don't see or realize, and the stress and the mental weight that it puts on you and things like that. But the end goal of it all and the passion behind it, it's worth more than that. So
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like, a lot of people will like journal to get out their emotions, and it sounds like you're basically journaling through song in
Yep.
a way, like you're going working on a track when to process some of those feelings that maybe some other
Hmm.
people would write down in a journal, for example.
It's like the best way to describe it because, I talk a lot. If you haven't realized already, I talk a lot. And so, like, one of the things that I wanted to do instead of having, you know, these full blown conversations of constantly telling people, be like, oh, yeah, this is my background, blah, 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 like this, that, and the other, walking around like a golden retriever and, kind of turning that into fuel for the music. So that way, when people hear that track, it's not they're not gonna feel what I was feeling when I wrote the track, but they're gonna feel the track the same way that I felt it. Different situation, but they're gonna get it. They're gonna feel the same way, and like that's exactly like how it is. It's like my journal, but since it doesn't have any words in it, I'm not worried about being embarrassed by anything. So,
Yeah, I know I've used one thing I have used the AI music for is like I'll like journal on like over a microphone and I'll tell it a story and then I'll have it turn it into a song. So it's kind of
nice,
cool because it's like
nice,
I'm
nice.
getting my stuff out in a way and then I can hear it like
There you go.
so it's awesome. I mean, I love music also, obviously, but um do you think how do you take care of yourself emotionally when the creative well feels dry? I know you said you were trying to re get reinvigorated in the last 6 months or so.
Um, One of the biggest, honestly, I've learned to kind of like accept it and just kind of ride it out. Um, but when it comes to when I hit those spurts of like, the creativity's just not flowing, um, I I'll pour, I'll pick up more hours at work. Um, or, I'll try switching to my bass project and see if there's anything going there. And if that's not the case, then I usually just play Xbox. Just kind of. But the reason for that is, starting production and things like that. When I did, it gave me the chance to kind of like hone in that skill. So I've been able to set myself up now over the last 10 years, kind of getting everything prepared. Um, I've set myself up where, I could release a track once every 3 months and I wouldn't have to open my DAW for about 7 years. So setting that up and doing it that way gives me the comfortability that when I hit my dry spells and there's no creativity, I can comfortably sit back and play video games or like put more time into work or plan a
Your
trip like doing
family,
something with the
yeah.
kids or something like that, and I can be comfortable and not stress about like, oh man, like, oh, I'm falling behind because like I'm not sitting at the dawn like writing music, like, all this stuff. So like it's just that's the way I've kind of set it up to kind of like deal with like that stress. So that way I can avoid it altogether and still have a good structural life balance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. It's glad it's at least it's not a stress. Like I know I don't know what your situation is with your label or anything like that, but I know some of them want you to put out so many tracks like within a time
Right.
frame.
Right. And the label I'm with, Afterlife Entertainment, like I've been there since Tracy, he's the guy that runs it. But I've been with him since we started and we've been going for about 6 years now. And so that's another like kind of like blessing is because I kind of met Tracy right after I kind of came out of the rough part, and he signed me to the label, and since then we've formed a friendship so much to a point that he's like an older brother to me. And so, when it comes to the music side of things, like he takes care of me. So that's one of the few blessings that I do have that like, that has the ability to give me that stress-free life, work and music kind of environment. So, it's great. It's awesome.
Great. Yeah, it sounds like a great guy. Glad to have good partners in this,
Oh
right?
yeah. It makes it a lot easier, especially when like, a lot of the times you feel like you can't trust most people. So like, having those few close
Especially in
friends,
this
like it's
industry.
nice. Yeah, it's pretty cutthroat.
Yes. So, a couple more things and we'll wrap up. So what would you say matters most to you in life?
Oh, my kids.
Your kids?
Yeah, my kids. If you talk outside family, like, because like obviously it's my kids, but like if you go outside of that,
Yeah.
authenticity. I would probably say authenticity. That's a big thing with me. Because even through everything that I've been through in life, I've never switched up or changed once. Like I've always been the same person. And I mean, obviously I've like grown into a better version over time, but still the same person like through and through. So I would probably say outside of like family, I'd probably say authenticity. That's being genuine and honest, like you're okay in my book if you have those qualities, or if you actually are observant towards those things and stuff like that, and noticing those things. So it's, yeah, authenticity is, it's a big thing.
So when you're gone from the industry, what do you want people to remember about your music? And then just what other legacies do you want to leave for your family, your kids?
For my kids, it's building something, because there's also some other like small little like side projects that I want to have that are not music related, in like way later on in the future. But for my kids, it's just kind of setting something up for them, not to where it's just like, oh, they never have to worry about anything in their life, but like, you know there's businesses that they could run, and they'll be working, and like, it's just kind of setting them up so that way they can kind of have an easier life. Um and then with the music, hmm I want to do, I want to leave something behind, kind of like what Skrillex did. Like, Skrillex changed the game. So like, everybody calls him the father of dubstep. Like he changed the whole thing. Um so I would kind of say that that's kind of like that type of legacy. It's not about fame, it's not about popularity, but it's the fact that, you know, some underdog took a chance and experimented with like some crazy computer sounds, and then developed something that kind of just kind of like rings through. So, it's one of those things that if you say the name Skrillex, almost everybody knows that name. But it's also his character and his demeanor in the way that he carries himself, that it doesn't turn into some crazy fanatic thing like most pop stars. So it's like everybody knows the name, but it's not like, oh my god, Skrillex. Like, it's not crazy. So it's something that's more of a turning point, or a turning stone, or whatever you want to call it, to kind of develop something new, like a new sound. Not necessarily a new genre. We've got too many already. But
50,000 million.
yeah, it's you got bass, house, techno, drum and bass,
Trance.
trance, and like synth wave. But then you start getting into the subgenres, and I'm like, all right, you already lost me. But yeah, I would say something that just kind of, something that like changes the game, something that develops something new, that kind of paves the way for younger artists, or you know older artists that are just now starting or things like that to kind of like give them something to like shoot for, like kind of inspire them to be like, man, like that guy has no music theory and this is the life he like came from and like that's what he's doing now. So like it is possible. So but yeah, out of those, like those are the two, setting those up for setting it up for my kids, and then just kind of like something that changes the game, that causes, that inspires people to just kind of like, say, screw it, why not? So, yeah,
Yep.
that would be my two things.
Well, I look forward to the future wonderful things that you're going to be doing and seeing what you come up with.
It will be fun.
Well, anything else you want to share or any upcoming events or tracks?
So I actually have September 1st. I just got it set up yesterday. September 1st, my newest track, Jealous, is going to be coming out.
Nice.
So that's it's I've played it out a few times and things like that. You can probably catch it on a couple of my mixes and things like that. But or if you ever come and see me, you'll probably hear it. So, but yeah, no, other than that, just September 1st, we got that new track coming out, and it's coming out through Afterlife Entertainment, and it's supposed to be streaming on all platforms. So I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Exciting. I'll have to check that out for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me. It was a pleasure.
Oh yeah, no problem.
And
Thanks for having me on.
hopefully I get to play with you sometime soon.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I'll be back down in San Antonio soon.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.